So a couple days ago, I ran a poll on my channel that asked which game did zombies better between Black Ops 4 and Cold War. As you guys can see as the results of the poll, it wasn't particularly close. Cold War absolutely blew out Black Ops 4. I mean, going with 74% of the vote is not very close. Now, I do recognize the limitations of this poll, but at the same time, I think it is still very, very telling. But because of this poll and the results, I actually started thinking about these two zombies games even more so than I did when I initially set it up. And I started to realize different things about these two games and where they were successful at and where they would fail at, or at least come short at. And shockingly to me, it seemed like these games really didn't share many of the same successes, nor did they share any of the failures. And because of that, I think that this is probably one of the most interesting comparison between two zombies games that we could ever think of, and that's exactly why we're doing it here today. And of course, with all that said, I think we should not waste any more time and jump right into this comparison between Black Ops 4 and Cold War zombies. Now, to really start off this comparison between the two, I first want to quickly talk about the unique gameplay features that these two games have. These are features that are only unique to these games, not seen in any other game before, so we're not counting anything like that. And to do this, I first want to look at Black Ops 4, where Black Ops 4 introduced a loadout system where you would choose your elixirs, talismans, special weapon, spawn-in weapon, of course only having the choice between 6 different guns, and then finally the perks. Now these features were not great, we're going to be honest here, and I could spend a lot of time explaining exactly why the perk system is so bad, or why the special weapon system is a little bit not great, not too bad, but it's not great at the same time, and overall why this is just not a great experience in zombies. But I think at this point, everyone knows why. I think everyone knows that adding a million perks into the game, but letting you only choose 4 is not a good thing. Like at all, that's just not a good thing, and all the other issues with it. And this is something that just was an absolutely terrible idea on almost every level. I mean, I believe that this perk system alone took away from every single map that came out in it. Every single map is better if they just have the old perk system, but instead we have this one. It just makes the game worse. Now, if we compare this to Cold War, we see that Cold War added a ton of new features. It also had a loadout, but this time you would only choose your field upgrade, which was also a little bit OP. Not as OP as the special weapons, but also OP. And then you'd also choose a gun that could be fully decked out. It could be literally any standard gun in the game. Of course, the catch here was that that gun would be at the lowest possible rarity. And speaking of rarity, there was that feature, a brand new feature that you would be able to increase the damage on a gun if you would just get its rarity high enough. And this was something that honestly was just there for me most of the time. I get my gun to gold sometimes I wouldn't, and it was just honestly there. It didn't really make a biggest difference to me. But what really made a big difference in this game was the new salvage system, because when you killed zombies, you would get rather salvage or rare salvage, and you would get these currencies that you would use to buy things at the crafting table and the armor station. Of course, one of the things you would buy would be your armor, increase the rarity of your gun, and repair your armor. Then at the crafting table, you'd be able to buy tactical equipment, lethal equipment, and score streaks, including a self-revive. And this really changed up how you played the game in a lot of different ways. Now, I don't honestly think that it did anything revolutionary for zombies, but I don't think it did anything bad either. I think it was good for this game. I don't know if I'd want to see systems like this return in future Treyarch games, but it's good for Cold War at the very least. And one thing I know for a fact, it's way better than whatever the heck they did in Black Ops 4. So this easily goes to Cold War. The next thing I want to talk about is the content that we got in these games, and this is going to be short because there's not much to say besides Black Ops 4 blew Cold War out of the water. Like, what even were they thinking with Cold War? I don't know, but at the same time, Black Ops 4 was a little bit unfair to compare because of the specific circumstances it was developed in. But regardless, if we look at these games, we have Cold War that had 4 round-based maps and Outbreak. So if you could rather count that as 4 or 5 is entirely up to you. But then Black Ops 4 had 8 total maps throughout its entire season. So 8 is greater than 5 and 8 is double 4. So no matter how you look at it, it's just way more content in Black Ops 4. But of course, the amount of content isn't everything, because you have to have quality content in order for it to be good. Because you could have a ton of something, but if it's all trash, it's all useless. So if we look at the actual quality of these maps, how do they actually compare? And funnily enough, I think that both of these games' maps actually have pros and cons, and they're completely opposite in terms of their pros and cons. For example, we have Black Ops 4 with, especially in the case of Chaos, maybe not so much in the Ether maps, but in the Chaos maps, has crazy locations, whether it be a Coliseum, Titanic, a mansion in the middle of the woods, or even whatever the heck Ancient Evil is going on. Like, those are some crazy cool locations, and we're just really cool to be in, if you ask me. And of course, it had all the music and the ambience to go alongside with it. Whereas Cold War, on the other hand, it had, outside of Die Maschine, maps that were all based off of campaign or multiplayer maps. Like, literally every single map. Maybe you don't count Firebases either, since it's only the spawn that's reused, but with Forsaken and Mauer de Toten were nearly completely reused from campaign. And then if you want to bring in Outbreak, also nearly completely reused from multiplayer. And it's only made worse by the lack of music and ambience that we were just so accustomed to up until Black Ops 4. Like, Cold War just got all of that and threw it out the window and completely ruined the zombies vibe that we got used to. And this is one of the biggest crimes Cold War has ever done. But that's not to say that Cold War did nothing good, because it did. Because the thing is, even though the whole vibe was thrown off on almost every single Cold War map, the gameplay was actually incredibly fun, in my opinion. This game to me was the funnest in terms of just getting on and killing zombies. Whether you're just killing zombies for XP, weapon XP, or even grinding camos, it was just really fun to do, something that I really never did before. I never just got on zombies to kill zombies until Cold War, which is something that I didn't even think was possible. So this was something that I absolutely loved about it. And then it also had its Easter eggs. Its Easter eggs were, in my opinion, a little bit too easy. Now, I know there are people who are going to tell me they weren't that easy, come on, and keep in mind, they're easy for someone who's been grinding Easter eggs for years now. This is someone who's relatively good at Easter eggs, so I need a little bit more of a challenge. And I'm not entirely against the idea of easy Easter eggs, but again, this is something I'm getting off track with, so I'm not going to go down to that. But overall, I personally thought they were a little too easy, but still solid for the most part outside of like Firebase Z. But now if we compare this to Black Ops 4, it's actually interesting because it's kind of the flip of what we just recently said, because in this game, I never had fun just running around and killing zombies. I had to do something special this whole time. I mean, I just didn't really have that much fun running around killing zombies. Even high rounds weren't exactly that exciting to me, especially with how cheesy the Howling Salvo was. That was really cheesy, and everyone who uses it is cheesy, which I do, so I guess I'm cheesy. Either way, the point is that it was really cheesy, and it was only made worse by the Easter eggs we got in this game. Like, what was Treyarch thinking? Outside of Ancient Evil, these Easter eggs are just not good. They are not very good in the slightest. I don't have fun on any of them except sometimes TOG, then of course Ancient Evil. But besides those two, I mean, I just think that these are some of the worst Easter eggs we've seen in zombies, period. They are so complicated for no reason. You're constantly being taken out of the game to watch a YouTube video to explain to you or read through a guide. It's just constantly taking you out of the game. I mean, I'm getting PTSD flashbacks to all of the steps during Dead of the Night or even Blood of the Dead. Like, they're just so freaking bad that I don't even understand how anybody thought that was going to be a good idea. But that's generally how I feel about the maps and the content we got in it. They both have their major issues. Both of them are held back by very substantial things. But unfortunately, one's held back more than the other, because no matter how great your atmosphere or your zombies vibe may be, if your gameplay's not fun, no one's going to care. So because of that, Cold War to me does have better quality maps and content. Even though there's way less, the quality of that content is just better because of the gameplay just being better. And of course, this brings me to my final decision on which one was better than the other. And honestly, I could have skipped through everything I said in this entire video. Everything, whether it be the Easter eggs, the maps, the content, the gameplay, all that stuff, it wouldn't matter, because what matters to me in the end is if it's fun. Am I having a fun time playing this and experiencing the story and atmosphere of these maps? And what it really comes down to is I just have more fun with Cold War. Like, there's things that I love about Black Ops 4 in terms of its atmosphere and the locations of their maps and stuff like that, but it's always held down by something else, whether it be the gameplay or maybe the Ether maps aren't actually great in terms of atmosphere, map location, and stuff like that. Like, it's just something always holding Black Ops 4 down. Even though it has way more content, any day of the week, I'm playing Cold War. I just have more fun playing Cold War, whether it's be just running around killing zombies, or if it's doing Easter eggs, going for high rounds. I just enjoy playing Cold War more in all of those aspects, and that's just not great news for Black Ops 4, because if you can't at least win in one of those areas of gameplay, I can't tell myself that Black Ops 4 is a better game because it has more maps, or because the map locations are cooler, or because it has more music, right? I can't say that, because what matters in the end is if you're having fun. And I just didn't have nearly as much fun with Black Ops 4 as I did Cold War. Cold War is my second most played zombies game ever, and that's kind of saying a lot there. So that's what it really comes down to for me. Cold War is just funner to me. I just have more fun playing Cold War than I ever did Black Ops 4. Which is unfortunate, because what I can't stop thinking about when I'm looking through this comparison and thinking about the comparison that we did here today, I can't help but think, like, what if these two games just got the strength of the other and got rid of the two weaknesses of these two games and put them together? Imagine we have Cold War's gameplay on Black Ops 4 maps. I think that game right there, a mixture of these two games, would rival Black Ops 3. Having 8 maps with the atmosphere and the location of Black Ops 4 with the gameplay of Cold War would have been one of the greatest zombies experiences we would have ever got. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. Instead, we had two games that were lacking in major areas. And because of that, neither of these games come anywhere close to BO3. But that wraps it up for this video. I love to hear what you guys think about everything I have to say here. Do you guys agree, disagree with me here? Do you think Cold War is better than Black Ops 4? I mean, based on my poll, I think most people are going to agree with me here, but hey, I guess we'll wait to see. And for the people who do think Black Ops 4 is better, why? Like, what makes you think that? Because I'm struggling to figure that out myself. But either way, guys, that's about it for this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And later, guys.